Hi guys, so I am having a finishing afternoon, and this has been one of the finishes that when I kind of showed my stitching of this on YouTube, people were asking if I could do a video on how I'm gonna finish this. Now, I'm hoping you guys are seeing this video because it means that I managed to finish it somehow. I've really been racking my brain. I have an image in my head of how I want this to go, but we all know with stitching and with finishing and crafting, sometimes it goes in a different direction than what you're expecting. So we are just going to jump in. I am probably going to do this video in real time because I do like my YouTube finishing videos to be real-time finishes. So that way, if you wanted to finish it along in the same way, or if you were how I was a few years ago, I was really intimidated about finishing. I was really worried how things would look. I would second guess myself. I would say that I'm not good enough for things. And that is just not the case. Finishing something that you have stitched and having it out on display brings me personally so much joy. Now, I love stitching it. I have thousands of pieces, well, probably not thousands. I have a few hundred pieces stitched that are not fully finished because I allowed the fear to stop me from finishing them. And that is just such a thing nowadays. I'm like, what is the worst that can happen? If I mess it up, if it doesn't finish the way I want it to, just restitch it. There's some pieces where you can always find a way around it. There's some pieces where I've actually cut into my stitching on one of my finishes on a pillow I did, and I just covered it up by doing a ruching ribbon at the bottom. No one knows what pillow that is. My finishing has also progressed. The more you do, the better you get at it, but take the fear out of it and just have fun doing it. Okay, so I'm going to change the camera in my holder, so hopefully it's not as wobbly as it is, and then I'll be right back. Right, so I'm back. Hopefully the camera isn't going to be too shaky. I do apologize. I've got ink on my hands, I've got glue on my hands from other finishing videos, but as I said at the beginning, I do a finishing afternoon or a finishing session because if I'm getting the hot glue gun out, or if I'm getting my needle and thread out to do lacing, I will lace multiple things, or I will glue multiple things together, and I will just have, normally I would have a movie on or a series on, but because I'm filming this, I am just literally talking to the camera. So the piece that I'm showing you today is the Easter Bunny by Claire from Love Poppet. I'm really hoping that you can see this. I love the way that she finished this. I got to see Claire again at the stitching show, and she had this was one of her newer releases out. It is available on her website if you love the pattern. It is such a gorgeous pattern. And I love the way she finished it. But the minute I saw it, I actually saw it posted on an Instagram feed the morning of the show. Someone else had bought the pattern and shown what they were buying. And I saw this pattern in a very different way. So she's done it as a finish on this gorgeous bag, and it is a flat finish. Now, you know me, I'm not very good at sticking to how things were originally intended. I've stitched mine in pieces. This is stitched on a perforated paper. I can't remember if this is 14 or 18 count. I think it's probably 18 count from the size of it. And I have stitched the elements separately. So let me bring this back in to show you. So I have stitched the bunny separately, as you can see, and all of the eggs have been stitched individually as well. Now I have kept the part out where I haven't filled in the pattern. So it would have been very easy for me to just continue this shape round, but I just chose to stitch it as it's called for, because when I had this idea in mind, I wasn't sure if people would want to do the same thing, and I didn't know whether people would feel comfortable working out continuation of pattern. So I've stitched mine exactly how it is in the pattern, except for, you can see here, let's take this pink egg for example. I've stitched the pink egg, and normally the green egg would go in front of it. So there's a part where this would be the green egg here. And that is exactly how I have stitched it. So I've stitched it as the pattern, exactly with called for colours, except for I've done mine on 18 count perforated paper, and it is done how it's meant to be done. So here's the basket. You can see there's large pieces of the basket which you can't see because the egg would be in front of it. Here is the flower that would go in the middle of the basket. So I hope that is how you can see it. And I'm planning to finish mine on the Hobbycraft. This is a wooden sign. I saw this yesterday when I was in Hobbycraft. I think it was like £4. It says wooden wall plaque sign. And this is how I'm going to finish mine. So before I get to the actual finishing part, there are a few things that I want to do on my stitching piece to help make this a little bit smoother. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start with the board first and then we'll come back to the finishing. So I am not going to paint this board. As I said in a previous video, I did intend to paint this, but I cannot find my paint. So we're going to go with the blue, with the brown. I have this green twine, and I am going to use this to make like a grass effect on mine. So I'm literally just going to put a dab of glue on the back here. I'm just going to hold that in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap my piece. I'm just wrapping it around the whole thing, front and back. I'm not really fussed. This twine I picked up from a local, it's called Refresh, and it is a craft place, but it's like saving things from the lined mine, so you get them really cheap. I think this green twine was like £1 or something. So I'm not fussed about using this, but you could use ribbon, you could use embroidery thread, you could just paint it, which was my original intention. But I'm just going to wrap it down. I'm going to move that down a little bit so I can keep going with this. I'm not sure what else I'm going to do, but I'm going to start with this just because I wanted to see. Oh, don't all unravel on me. See, this is the problem when you do like videos and you decide to keep everything in, you're going to see the parts where I went a bit wrong. So I just want to make it very clear, I am not a professional finisher at all. I just try and finish my pieces and get them out on display because I don't want to be afraid of the finishing. I don't want to feel like I can't finish something. I just try. What is the worst that can happen? Honestly, as I've said, I don't know if I've said it in this video or I've said it in another video, but I've had it where I've cut my stitches before. You can always make things work. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut that off. That is completely the wrong scissors for that, but there we go. So now I've got hot glue all over my fingers. So I am just going to put that to one side. So that is the basic part of my finishing. I will come back to this in a bit, but I've got something as a divide now. So I'm going to put that to one side and I'm going to pick up my piece here and I will be back in just a second. I'm just going to grab, I've got an old pair of embroidery scissors that I use for perforated paper, but they're on the sofa, so I'll be back in 1 second. Right, sorry about that. I just had to grab, so I have multiple pairs of these scissors, but these are the ones that I have used specifically for perforated paper because I don't want to dull my other scissors. So I'm going to carefully cut around my shapes. Okay, so all I'm going to do to start with is I'm just going to do a rough cut down of the different elements. Oh, that was very close to my stitching. And it's like a bit of a jigsaw. I'm just going to be putting it back together, but making it so it's 3D. So here, I don't want to waste all of this excess because I could use this stuff. So this one I'm going to cut a little bit closer. Just go down there. And that I'm going to put to one side because I could probably use that for something else. So now I've got the different elements cut apart. What I am going to do is I'm just going to take a felt tip. I'm just going to use the felt tips that I have here. And all I'm going to do is where I've got the green basket, for example, I'm just going to colour in this section. Now you can see my green doesn't match perfectly. It's not really an issue. You're not actually going to really see this. I just don't want to see it underneath the piece if my piece is turned at an angle. And I feel like if I don't do this, then it is going to be noticeable. I'm just using Tombow markers because they're literally sat right next to me. I'm just going to darken that corner just a little bit. That's a bit better. As I said, I'm not going for a perfect match. That green was just very, very bright in real life. I don't know if it showed up on camera. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my pattern back in. Oops, don't drop the marker that I'm using. So I know that this orange egg, now I'm just going to cut this orange egg out and I'm just cutting one stitch away. So I'm not actually cutting from the one that I've actually stitched into. I'm just cutting one hole away, if that makes sense. Right, I'm just going to go down here. And do that there. Where there's a part missing, where this was stitched, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to round it out. I'm not going to worry about the shape too much. But I know this is going to be where my orange egg sits. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to put the markings in. All I'm going to do, like I did before, I'm just going to colour that section in. Now this step, I am not 100% sure if this is 100% needed. I am actually just going to colour around my basket as well, because I'm not 100% sure I like, if I'd done this on a brown perforated paper, I might not need to do this step, but I've done mine on white and it really does stand out. So I'm just gonna colour in my basket. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just cut out each of the elements one stitch away so I can see what I am looking at. I will probably cut them down closer towards the end, but I'm going to start with just one stitch away, just because it gives me a little bit of leeway in case I go wrong. As I said, if I've got a part which is missing because it's going to be tucked underneath something, I'm just going to round it out because I do need a little bit so I can stick them together. Okay, there's another part cut out. And just take your time with this. I don't even know if I'm doing this on camera. I've just realised I'm using my big scissors. I'm like, why is this so difficult to align it? Maybe because I'm using the wrong scissors. Here we go. This is the one where I accidentally cut into the stitching, so I've got to be a little bit careful with this one. And as I said, I do keep all the offcuts, so that will go in my keep pile, because I could stitch something and turn that into something. So let's just cut this one down a little bit more. Okay, let's do this egg. Right, now with the bunny, I'm going to keep a little bit at the bottom. So I've got 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm just going to keep 3 stitches because with the bunny, there isn't much overlap with the basket, and I want to be able to glue it back down. So I am going to keep at the tip of my bunny 3 extra stitches, at the bottom of my bunny 3 extra stitches. And this is where we're just going to be a little bit more careful when cutting this piece out. I want to make sure that I get this without cutting my stitches. And as I said, I have no idea if I'm even on camera or if I'm off camera. We don't want a sharp point. And we will go back at the end and like fine tune this. So where we can trim it a little bit closer, we will. But I always find that when I start these projects, I want to be a little bit more cautious, especially because I've not finished something this way before. It's just an idea I have in my head. So I don't know if I'm going to need a little bit of extra paper, and like a millimeter could make a difference. But when I get towards the end of the project, I have a better idea of what I'm looking for, and then I can just go in a little bit closer and like cut some of this excess out. You don't need a whole lot of excess, if that makes sense. So here I've got like a sharp part. I'm just going to get rid of that because I don't want that catching on anything. And then when we get back down, I'm going to go round the tail, and I'm just going to give myself those few extra stitches. We'll just tie that part up. Okay, so forgot about my flower. Let me just do my flower, and then I'll come back and do the last part of this. So let's just get rid of that knot. We don't need that. So same thing with the flower, just going round. So I am going to colour around the edges of my pieces like I've done with my basket, just because I think the white is going to be a very stark outline. I would probably suggest stitching this on like the brown if you wanted to. That might make a bit of a difference. But to be honest, you could just grab some very cheap felt tips and colour that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a purple. I'm just going to use a scrap to see this is a bit wine coloured, but I think it will look good around the edge. So all I'm going to do is just go around the edge of my flower. I might actually just put a little bit in that centre part there so it just looks like it's meant to be there. So the colours don't have to be exact. Like the Easter eggs, they've got so many colours in, you could just do it as a layer of the Easter egg. As I can see, this one, I don't have an exact purple. I don't really have many purple shades in Tombos or in general felt tips. I have my alcohol markers, but I was a bit afraid that it might seep into like some of the lighter colour threads. So I'm just doing it with my Tombos. You can see by colouring those centre parts, it just looks like it's meant to be. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to grab some different colours and I am just going to jump straight in. See, that's a lighter orange. Maybe I do the... No, that doesn't show up on my thing. Okay. Might do that around this multicoloured one. I'm sorry, these are so small. I don't even know if you can see this on the camera. And when I was stitching these, I was like, these are adorable, but they're teeny tiny. I might actually do that for this colour as well. And where there's like the chunks missing, I am just colouring those in as well. You're not going to see it. I very much doubt you're going to see it. But at certain angles, depending on how you're displaying your piece, you may be able to see a little bit of it. Hence, you might want to do something to kind of cover it up just a little bit. And I'm not trying to make these colours match because the chances of matching every single colour here is going to be very weird. It's not going to happen. So why fight it? Why not just go with a similar colour and it can look like you have just outlined it? I'm not sure if you can see these pieces down here. I'm not going to do the bunny rabbit because the bunny rabbit's white anyway. And it's just not going to show up. Right, that is too different. That's the same colour as the basket. Too bold. There's me saying, oh, I'm not going to match these up too much, and I'm just here faffing around with colours. I quite like the lighter shade in that, actually. There we go. There's that colour. And then we're going to go with a really light pink, because I haven't really got... Oh, that's Barbie pink. I don't want Barbie pink. I want a light pink. Actually, I like that colour. We're going to go with that. Oh, don't colour on the green with that one. That might stand out a bit. And as you can see, I'm not really making any effort to keep this nice and tidy whatsoever, because we're going to trim these down and we're going to line the pieces up. Right, so the last thing I have is my basket. So my bunny's going to go underneath, and you see the bunny fills up that space. So what I'm going to do is, if I can find a pen, I'm just going to put a little line behind the bunny. I didn't even see where that line went. just to give me a bit of an outline. And I know I'm going to come down there, so we're going to just go over that with, I tried using the pen does not show up, so I'm just going to go over that with my outline. I still want to keep a little bit there because I want to be able to attach the bunny, but what we're going to do, I'm going to curve that part off. This is where this egg is going to go, so we're fine with that. We're just going to take this up here, and we're just going 1 stitch away the whole way up. I'm going to be careful when we actually get to the part where there's stitching to make sure we are staying 1 stitch away, but this should be good. And I did decide to stitch the flowers that are on the basket handles. I did decide to do that as they are designed, because I'm not going to pop those up. Those are just going to stay as they are. So I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit because I just want to go around this flower and make sure that I've still got some kind of shape from the flower. And same here, I want to make sure I can separate those a little bit. Okay, and then same thing, I'm just going to colour in around the flowers. And I am going to do the inside because I am going to cut this out. I'm going to go around with this colour, I think, for this one. Yep. Well, I've already done it, so it's a bit late now, if that's not what I wanted to do. In that bit. And this just takes away those stark white edges, because you'll see when we stack this up, you're going to have stark edges, and that is not what you want to do. So I'm just going to put a little bit more green in for my basket. I'm going to make sure that side's covered as well. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1 stitch away. I'm just going to push my scissors in to make a hole, so just be careful of your fingers underneath. And then I'm just going to cut into it. Now, I like using my embroidery scissors for this because, as you can see, I got in there straight away without any issues. You could, if you're a little bit worried about that, use like an X-Acto knife and cut into it that way. I just find my scissors just as easy just to get in there, and as long as you're careful with your fingers, you're absolutely fine. I'm really hoping this is actually in frame. I'm just going to get rid of this chunky part here, and I would probably keep that and stitch something on that. I'm terrible when it comes to like the scraps. I hate having to throw anything away because it could be used for something. And here all I'm doing is I'm just cutting on that colour part that I've just coloured in 1 stitch away, and it just gives me quite a clean outline. And you may notice I actually have my scissors upside down. I tend to do that quite a lot when cutting. I don't know if that's because I'm a left-hander or I just cut badly, but that is what I've got. And then I just need to tidy up that first section where I came in because it's just going to give me a little bit of a raw edge, but we're not going to see that. So there we go. We've got all of our elements cut out. I'm hoping you can see this. Am I on frame? I think I've just done half of that video off frame, so I do apologise. So now when I put this back in, I have a bunny, I have an orange egg, I have another egg, I have a flower. Okay, but I want to layer this. I want to get this nice and stacked up. So back in comes my board, and for these I'm going to be using sticky dots. Now I got these ones in Hobbycraft. They were on sale, 25p and 50p, What a bargain, exactly what I needed to get this done. So my green part of my basket is absolutely fine because it's already on the edge of my piece here. So we are good to go with that. I'm just going to trim that bit down. I'm actually going to trim off a line of my basket because I don't need the basket to be like that. So my basket is at the right height because it's already, am I even on camera? Let's not lose any pieces. And that's just, am I on camera now? I can't actually see my camera. I'm filming upside down, guys, so I do apologize if I'm off camera at any point. Where I've done that, my thread is now coming off, so I'm just going to stick my thread back down. Naughty, naughty twine trying to escape the piece there. I'm just going to glue those pieces down. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to take some really boring scissors that I don't really care about, and I'm just going to trim those pieces down. So you can get smaller sizes of these adhesive foam pads, but they were like £1.70 and these were 25p. So I have a pair of scissors that works just as well. So I'm going to start by just sticking these down and pushing them down a little bit all along the basket of my piece. And I'm just doing the basket handle in this section because the actual basket is covered by the string. It doesn't need lifting up. Okay, I have got bigger ones as well. I've got some circles. They were just a bigger size, and I'm going to use a circle for my flowers because they're bigger. It's not going to be seen. Okay, I'm really hoping that the outside noises are not affecting you guys too much because I have closed my windows. It is a beautiful day though. So I'm just going to take the backing off of all of these. And yes, you can see my messy stitching at the back, but when it's stuck down, no one else will know it is there. It's a little secret. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue to my stitched area where it's on the bottom of the basket because that part is going to be covered. Oh, don't stick there. Here. So I'm just going to stick that down. And as you can see, just with one layer of those things, it has covered that. So let me just push those off the edge. So you can see my basket is raised up, so it's not going to fall down anywhere. I'm then going to take my bunny rabbit. This is going to be the next step. Now I'm actually going to tuck, I haven't glued the top of this down on purpose because I'm going to be tucking that white strip underneath my bunny, but I do need to cut that down a little bit because it is a bit too long. So with the bunny rabbit, I'm actually going to stack these up and I'm going to do these 2 foam pads high. Okay, so I'm just going to stick those on there. I don't know if you can see that. So I've just stuck 2 foam pads on top of my bunny rabbit, and I'm just going to do that along certain areas of the rabbit. For the wider areas, I'm using the circles because they're just a bigger space. You could just use everything in one size and just cut them down. I just have them so they're easier. And you do want to make sure that you have enough so it holds it up because I have learnt my lesson. They do sink. I've used these in crafting projects before, and if you don't put enough in to hold the piece up, all you'll find is your piece will just end up going flat. So I'm just going to put one there with a piece on top. So I'm just stacking these 2 high across the whole area of my bunny rabbit. And then I am going to go in with a few of the smaller ones as well. I'll start on this side because I've cut those pieces. Just in the areas where I can't fit another larger one, where I don't want it to get. Oh, actually these are like higher up, so okay, not sure how that's going to work. Maybe I should have checked it before I started, but oh well. Right, I'm just going to take the sticky back. I'm going to have these dots everywhere, aren't I? It's just going to cover my whole crafting space. Okay, and then I'm just going to tuck the bunny once again. We're going to tuck him underneath, or her underneath, making sure that we line her up with where we want her. And I can see that I haven't got enough at the top. So what I'm going to do is I can quite easily still peel her up, and I'm just going to put another one in there. I do need a couple of the smaller ones for her ear. Where did I cut my smaller ones? They're there. Because I don't want anything happening to her gorgeous little ear. Right, let's do that. And if you wanted to attach extra glue, you can do, but these are actually really quite sticky, and I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue not having that extra glue. So I'm just going to stick that one on top. Have I taken paper off that one? I haven't. Okay, and then we're just going to push her bunny head back down. And I'm just looking at it from the front. So I can tell she's going to need some extra support there. So let's just stick these parts together. My hands are covered in sticky glue. Okay, so from the top, this is what we are looking like at the moment. From the side, as you can see the sticky pads, but no one is going to see it when it is all tucked in there. Now, that is layer number 1. I want to raise this up, and I don't want this too high, so I'm only going to do this at 1 sticky dot height, but I'm going to move that, peel that off. You do get a little bit of time to peel these back, so don't worry if you didn't get it perfectly placed first of all. And then we're just going to line those petals up and glue that down. Okay. Then I'm going to go in with my first layer, and actually I'm not sure if I want to raise that up now. I thought I was going to want to raise that up, but I think I might. I'm actually just going to glue this part down. I thought I was going to want to raise that up from there, but it actually looks really good having it at a different level to the flower. So I'm going to go with that. Then we've got the pink one on this side, which is the same thing. I'm just going to glue that down. I quite like how that looks. Now with this one though, because it is overhanging, I am going to need to add a dot to this end to keep it from collapsing in on itself. Okay, then I've got the green one is going to go here. So I'm just going to add 1 dot onto that. I'm really liking how this looks. With that one, I might actually just add some dots to this end to raise it up a little bit. It is slightly raised on that side, maybe one of these. So I am raising up my Easter egg on this side. I'm really loving how this tan is looking. Like, I don't even know if you can see this on camera, but like, this is looking really good in real life. You can definitely see the different like layers. It's layering up really quite nicely. And it is just looking absolutely amazing. So there we go, we got that one. And then I've got this teeny tiny little egg, which needs a little bit of trim. Now, do I want to raise that one up or do I want to keep that one down? Let's have a look. This one is so small and finicky. Do I want to raise her up? Where does it sit on the pattern? Oh, actually, on the pattern, it's over here. Okay, I need to trim my threads because they're coming through at the back. Okay, so that is what it's looking. That's where it's meant to go. I am going to raise that one up. Is one of these too big? Let's have a look. Oh no, one of those just fits it. Okay. Okay, I'm really liking that. If I turn this to the side, I'm hoping you can see like where it is raised up. It's looking so cool. Right, let me just move some stuff over. So, how am I going to finish this? I do have these pieces, these carrots from Hobbycraft, that from Poundland, sorry. They're really, really big. I've got stuff everywhere. I do have these, which are fun. Let's have a look, because I could cut these down. Oh, I like that. So I've got my wire cutters. I've been using these. These are Pepco Easter decorations. These are from Poundland. I've been using these in so many of my spring crafts this year. Right, I like that. Do I like... The yellow's the wrong yellow, so do I like the blue better? I might just stick with the pink. With the pink on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put that leaf underneath, and that will support that egg a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to do that. Let's put some hot glue on this thing. Okay, I'm going to glue that down. Okay, I am really liking how this looks. I do have these Pepco Easter decorations as well. And I did go in the other day and they do still have all of these. I might actually put that on a ribbon. So, do I need another flower? No. So let's just put these flowers away because I'm getting... I should really put a picture in of what this creative space looks like because it is literally everywhere. So, I do have some other bits. These were also from Poundland. And then I have some different gem pieces. I have no idea how I want to decorate this. Do I like that? I can flatten these a little bit more because these just are a little bit too high. Okay, we could have it like it's like a little Easter garden at the bottom. Do I like this or is this too much? Oops. Do I have another pink one? I have these flowers and I never know what to use them for, but I'm actually quite liking, and it takes away a bit, doesn't it, from there? Maybe I just do it at the very bottom. Okay, we are going to go for this. We're going to glue these down because I do like how that is looking, and it does help to like clean up the bottom of those eggs. Like it now looks like the eggs are like hidden in the piece. Do another one. And because this is a hanging piece, I can go a little bit further down because I can hang this up. Do I want another one on there? Let's just cut this off and have a look. I think I do. Let's hot glue that part at the top of that part. Okay, I might need one more of those creamy coloured ones. Even it out a little bit. There we go. Just going to put that at the top. Okay, so let's move some of this stuff out the way so we can actually have a little bit of a workspace. This is what we are looking like so far. Now, I could do a little bow, or I could just add a carrot up at the top. Let's have a look. Where are those carrots gone? Could just do a little carrot, maybe a little carrot trio, like duo at the top. Is that too much? Does it look weird with just one carrot? Or I do have, from my other finish video, I do have, put a little carrot or a little bow. I kind of think I like the carrots, but I don't know how many of the carrots I want. Do I want just one at the top there? Do I want two at the top, or do I want to put them at the very top of the piece? I'm wondering if this is just getting a bit busy now. I need something at the top because I need to ground it a little bit because it is kind of like it's floating. And I don't want my bunny to feel like it's floating. Could have two pieces. But then when it hangs up, it might look a bit off center. Or we could do some more of those flowers, I guess. Do I want some more flowers at the top? Oh, I've got a butterfly. Could put a butterfly up there. Do I have some more butterflies in here? I do have some more butterflies. I have a wooden butterfly. I have that butterfly. I like the white one better. Right, that's it. We're going with a butterfly. And because these butterflies are a little bit heavier, I am going to just reinsure that with a little bit of hot glue. And there we go. So, where is the pattern? So, this is how Claire's finish looks. And this is how my one looks. Very, very different. But I do love the raised element. And I'm not sure if you're going to see that on camera. So what I'll do is I'll insert some photos because I think it might show up a little bit better in the photos. But it does look very different when it is raised. I'm not sure if that is going to show up at all. So every layer, it kind of progresses up the piece or down the piece depending on the angle that you are looking at. But there we go. That is my finished piece for this one. I really hope you've enjoyed this finishing video. I'm really hoping it's been in frame because I didn't realize how zoomed in my phone is. My phone is filming upside down, so I can't actually see the screen. But yeah, so hopefully it gives you an idea of how you can take a chart and change the finishing to suit you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy stitching. Bye.